Hi, Chris here, and today we're going to be sending a probe up into polar orbit around Kerbin. So we're just going to be reusing this probe I used to send him in much early. So it's got lots of fuel and should be able to do it relatively easily. This is a specific orbit, so we're not just going to fly off north. Obviously, if it's a standard polar orbit, we probably could just head off in a straight northerly direction and get into orbit as per normal. But here, as you can see, we've got one which is all the way out at the moon. We actually have some problems later on that we're going to have problems because we've got the same orbital period as the moon. If we get the times perfectly wrong, we're going to interact with the moon every time we go around and completely ruin our orbit and everything. So let's try not to do that. Right. So that yellow circle's our target. We've also got to get it going around in the right direction. That's quite tricky. So we're going to create a orbit all the way out just to the edge of that yellow circle. Then we're going to kill our speed to absolute zero relative to Kerbin, and then burn straightly in the direction of the polar orbit. It's always a bit embarrassing if you do this and then end up orbiting in the wrong direction. Don't do that. Okay, so taking off. I already know this rocket works because I used it to get to Minmus. So this stage just uses solid boosters. The second stage here is using throttle down, and this means the solid booster will last much longer. Right, so we detach the probe section. Just going to reach the apoapsis, and then we're going to spin up the shaft so we maintain our direction and get orbit. Obviously, if you use a more advanced probe core, then you can switch on SES, then you don't have to spin up. We're spinning up so the course doesn't drift while we're accelerating. Right, so we're changing our course. So we're going to get an orbit which just clips that circle. There we go. So spin up again, and then just burn till we're all the way out there. Slow down so we get it just right. I'm trying to get it so the apoapsis is right on top of that line. Right. There you go. So we're just going to kill the speed. And the other part of the maneuver is to create the orbit like that. So just kill the speed to 0 and then go into orbit. I'm going to do this in 2 parts, I think. So I'm just going to spin up. There we go. And now I'm just going to accelerate the orbit and adjust it just to get the periapsis in the same place. Then I can go to the high and low point of the orbit and make sure they overlap. So there we go. So I'm just going to adjust that one so that it overlaps the periapsis. Then okay. So we've got a problem here. We're interacting with the moon. Obviously you don't want to do that. So we're going to have to make a course adjustment at the periapsis just so we dodge the moon. Try to do this in a fairly fuel efficient way. It's not great. Right, so now we get past the moon. I'm just going to make a course adjustment to get back to where we were before. Then we go back to periapsis and just line up those 2 orbits. So there we go. Perfect. We're just going to hold that course for 10 seconds, gain a bit of science while we're waiting, and we get this beautiful sexy orbit in polar orbit around Kerbin.